Welcome to Loving Life, a guide to a positive mindset. I'm your host, Lisa. I'm a mindset and energy coach, and each week you'll discover mindset shifts, energy practices, and real life tools to help you feel more confident, calm, and in flow, because you deserve to love the life you're creating. I'm so glad you're here with me. Let's get going on today's episode. Welcome back to Loving Life. Now, today I want to start with a bit of a truth bomb. If you're trying to do everything well, you're probably not doing anything brilliantly. And worse than that, you are probably exhausted, a little bit resentful, and possibly wondering why nothing feels satisfying anymore. So this episode is not about doing more, it's about choosing better. Before we get into any of that though, I just want to welcome you all back and say a huge thank you to people in Indianapolis, because you were the place with the largest amount of downloads last week. Indianapolis has never been at the top of the downloads. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you to wherever you are, and thanks for coming back. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you like and share it with your friends, share it with whoever you think needs to hear it. And if you could take 2 minutes out of your time to leave me a review on Apple, that would be amazing. It literally takes 2 minutes, that's all. So if you just click on the title of the podcast and scroll down, and it will give you reviews, and just literally leave me a super quick review, that would be amazing. Just let me know what you think. Okay, so getting back to today's episode, I first want to start by sharing a little bit about last week's inner circle session that I held. Now, it was all about inner power, calm confidence, I like to call it. So it was all around the solar plexus. Now, I always take part in these as well myself. So I give some journaling questions, and I like to take part in them myself because, you know, I'm doing the work as well. So I asked a question, and that question was, what have I been trying to be in order to feel good enough? And so I started listing out all the things that I've been being: mum, wife, podcaster, coach, dog mum, cleaner, chef, like not a paid chef, obviously, but like a chef from my family, household organizer, the glue that holds the household together, the family together. And as I was listing all of those things, like, it made me realise that, and I've literally written it down here, I often feel overwhelmed and do each of those things to a lesser capacity. Like, those were my actual words that I wrote down. And suddenly it made me realise, like, my list of roles is so long. And I think this is probably something that is very common with many of us. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, yeah, I don't even know where I sit underneath all these roles anymore, then this is the exact work that we do inside of Flow and Flourish. It's not about doing more. It's about reconnecting with yourself, with your energy, and letting everything else organise around that. So Flow and Flourish might be exactly what you need right now. And I'll give you more details of that later on in the episode. But here's what I realised. Those roles, the roles that I listed and that you probably do as well, these are all things we do, okay? And identity is who we are. And for so many of us, we have stacked role on top of role on top of role without ever really asking or remembering who's underneath all of that, holding it all. No wonder we're exhausted. No wonder we feel scattered, and no wonder our confidence sometimes feels a bit wobbly. We all have a limit to our energy. We all have a limit to our attention. And when we keep pulling ourselves in all these different directions, the nervous system is often what pays the price. And this often results in burnout, headaches, fatigue, and so on and so on and so on. Yet we live life as if we are meant to be everywhere, as if we're meant to be available to everyone all the time. And every time you switch roles from work to home to emotional support to thinking about what's next, like family PA, your nervous system doesn't see that as normal life. It sees it as a demand. And when those demands stack up without any kind of pause, the nervous system and the body is what pays the price. It burns out. And when you try to juggle work, parenting, relationships, health, friendships, personal growth, hobbies, self-care, being emotionally available to everyone, something or some things don't get your best. Trying to be good at everything doesn't make you impressive. It makes you tired. And often mediocre. Now, I apologise if that is harsh, but I think we know deep down that it's true. I'm sure we can all relate to a time when we've tried to be perfect at everything. We have learned to confuse being capable with being obligated. We have learned to fear letting people down more than burning ourselves out. And we have learned to think that rest or focus means that we're selfish. So instead of choosing where our energy goes, we spread it thin and call it balance. I know I do, and that's literally what I wrote down. I have tried to balance so many roles. Those are the words I wrote down. But balance isn't equal attention to everything. It's intentional dedication to what matters most right now. And this is something that I need to remind myself every now and again, and I'm sure you do too. And that's what I'm doing right now, is reminding me of the cost of juggling everything. Like, the cost of juggling everything leads to things like fatigue. It leads to resentment because we feel like we have to do it all. It feels like nothing's ever really done. It leads to losing confidence because nothing really gets your full power. So because we end up being mediocre, like, that hits our confidence, obviously. And then you feel like you're behind, even when you're doing loads. It's not bad. It's not that you're bad at following through on things. It's that you have over allocated. So the real work of this episode is going to come from me telling you what I want you to have a think about. So I want you to action this, okay? So if you are feeling this, as I'm sure many do, then I want you to just take 5 minutes. You could either pause the episode here, or you could do it, come back to it later, or do it straight after the episode. But please make sure you do, okay? And just write down every role that you hold. And then circle 1 or 2 identities that you want to lead with right now. And just let the rest be supportive roles, like not central roles. This isn't about abandoning anything. It's not about deciding, right, I want work to be the priority at the moment, so that means that I don't give a shit about my family. Like, obviously that's not the case. Obviously you still have those roles, but this is about where we put our focus, and this is about not letting everything consume your identity. So you've got your list, you've chosen like one or two of those identities that you want to lead with at the moment. And then just make a conscious effort to reframe how you feel about everything else. Just for this particular season, like I said, we don't need to abandon any of this. We don't need any of this to, we're not giving up these roles. But when I say reframe, so we can say something along the lines of, this season, I am great at my work and my health. Like, that is my focus. The house is fine. So we know that our energy is going mainly into work and health. The house is fine. The house will sort itself out. The house is still going to be standing. This season, I am present with my family and steady in my business. Social life is quieter. Or this season, I'm focusing on healing and resting. Productivity can wait. And just being selective with our energy here. It's not, like I said, it's not quitting. This is how we build our inner confidence. This is how we lead. This is how we manage our time and our expectations. And, you know, the other roles that we are not putting all of our focus on for that particular season, like, where can we lean on others to help us fulfill that role? Like, we don't have to do it all ourselves. Where can we delegate? Who can we ask us to help us? Help, oh, that scary word, help. You know, where can we offload some of it? Where can we outsource some of it? Just so as we can direct our energy more into one place and like do a really fucking good job at one or two of those things. Many of us see ourselves as perfectionists. We want everything we do to be perfect. But the problem with perfectionism is it doesn't raise your standards. It depletes your focus. Like, trying to be perfect at everything. Oh, I've written this down as well, I think. I actually wrote down one of my actions that I wrote down during the session on Saturday. Being fucking amazing at one of these things rather than trying to be good at everything. And like, let one of these things be okay, be adequate. Like, not feeling the need to juggle harder, juggle more. Like, we need to choose more honestly. And when we do, we're going to feel lighter, clearer, and quietly more powerful, more confident on the inside. Okay, earlier on, I promised you the details of Flow and Flourish. So Flow and Flourish is a workshop I created which actually ties so nicely into this. It's a bit like a goal setting workshop, but without the pressure. We look at the energy of the seasons, set intentions and goals that work with your life, not against it, with that energy, not against it. So if that sounds like something you need, then it's happening on the 15th of February at 3 p.m. UK time. It happens on Zoom. This workshop is actually in its 4th year now. It's been called different names, but Flow and Flourish just works really well because that is exactly what it is. You know, we flow with more ease and then things flourish rather than hustle and like work in a very masculine way. This is all about working with, you know, this is a very feminine way to work. It's working with our energy, and that also goes with our cycles as well. You know, the seasons aren't just 4 seasons of the year. We have 4 seasons of a month to deal with. So this thinks about all of that. This takes all of that into consideration. The link to that is in the show notes. And if you are in the inner circle, then obviously this is included. So yeah, I can't wait to see you there. Thanks for joining me this week. Please make sure you do write that list. If you haven't already, if you didn't pause the episode at the time, make sure you take time now to write your list of roles and choose one or two of these things that you're going to really put your energy into. Okay, don't feel like everything else needs to stop. We are just putting more energy into one or two of these things and let everything else just run nicely in the background. And just see if that makes a difference to your life rather than trying to juggle everything and call it balance. Okay, I love you. Thank you so much. I will see you next week. Don't forget to like, share and review. Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could take a moment to subscribe, rate, and if you're listening on Apple, as 95% of you do, review. It really helps the podcast reach more people who are ready to shift their mindset and raise their vibration. And if you know someone who would benefit from today's episode, feel free to share it with them. Until next time, keep loving life and know that I'm sending you so much love.